It's time for another musical interlude. Let's get started. Talking with people with music in their genes, their blood, and in their soul. You are watching Musical Interlude. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Musical Interlude. I am your host, Casey Bell, and today's guests are Stevie Wellens and Cheryl Renovato of Soulful Femme. Let's get the show started. First question, which you'll have to answer separately. When did you first discover your passion for music?
First. You go, Cheryl.
Because I'm older? Okay. When I was about 9 years old, when the Beatles came out and the Allman Brothers came out, between 66 and 69 is when I found my passion and what I wanted to do and what instrument I wanted to play. So it goes that far back.
Okay. It goes as far back as I would say. Well, I was a kid in my crib singing for the first time. I remember actually singing a commercial, but really nailed it for me was Fingertips. Stevie Wonder, seeing this little kid on TV, playing the harmonica, having a good time, directing the band and singing that song. I still listen to it and it still gives me chills. That was my, this is something I think I'd like to do. Yeah. So it started back then. Yeah.
All right. So second question, again, you'll have to answer it separately. So there are many people out there who have a passion, but unfortunately they do not follow it. What, despite of any fears, what encouraged you to follow it anyway?
I think as far as I'm concerned, there never was anything else that I really wanted to do. I went to music school right out of high school, and I did stop playing for a while, but it's always been my passion. I've never had any fear of not being able to make a living or not being able to play out enough or not being good enough. I just kept pushing myself to do, and here's where I ended up today. But no, I just had the passion to do it. And back when I started, there weren't hardly any women playing guitars at all. Most of them were studio musicians. So it was something very different, unique. And I did get a lot of opposition, but I just kept pushing on.
Well, for me, I had a band. I guess I was maybe 14, had a girl group. And I realized I was doing a lot of singing with them, and I think I was more passionate about than they were. But I stopped because my parents wanted to make sure I went to school, and singing and was not, especially for my family, singing was not something that was going to make a lot of money, and it still doesn't. But I didn't let that stop me. Life had a lot of stumbling blocks, little barriers in the way, things to break through them and just keep pushing. And I did. And I said, I have to do this. If I don't sing, or if I don't perform, or if I don't create, I'm not breathing. So that's why I still do it.
Cool. Okay, so next question you'll have to answer separately. So Cheryl, you said Beatles was for you, and Stephanie, you said Stevie Wonder. And so you saw them on television, and you saw them performing, and you saw them having fun. But when you got into the music business, you learned the business side of it. So what were some of the things you learned that they didn't show you on television about the music business that kind of threw you off guard?
There's nothing they show you on television that has anything to do with the music business. And I didn't learn about the music business until a year after I got out of Berkeley. I moved to Pittsburgh and I played 6 nights a week, 52 weeks a year. And I had a vocalist that I worked with that was my mentor. And she is the one that taught me about the business of music, how to be professional, on time, treat it as a business, because that's what it is. And I've worked with many, many musicians that didn't feel that way, didn't act that way, but that's where I learned the business of music, because they don't, excuse my dog barking. But that's where I learned the music business.
Well, a lot of musicians, great, fantastic musicians, know a lot about music, but not the music business. And that's unfortunate. That's how a lot of musicians get robbed of their music and of their livelihood because they didn't handle their business.
Excuse me, keep
music business. Shall see ya. And so, I didn't learn. I knew nothing, not a bloody thing. And as you just getting up there, and people just think you're just going to get up there and just open your mouth and start singing. There's a little bit more to that. Learning how to sing. There's people who are gifted. They just get up there and do their thing. But for a lot of us, it was a little different. I had to learn that, about having your own band, money, people have to be paid. You have to, all the whole shebang about business, the owners of a club, a certain venue. You had to learn all about that. There's a lot of things, and everybody's different. It's not necessarily the same. And I've learned that. I had to learn that the hard way. You got to learn about, because somebody wants to cancel on you. You got to have these things in writing. And a lot of people don't do that. You go on somebody's word, and we still do that. I have to say, there are times that we have done that.
Yep.
We have, and luckily we're okay. But somebody tells you that they're going to pay you this, and then they don't, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's your fault. So there's a lot to had to learn a lot and learn it. It took a while, but I got it. We got it, right, Cheryl?
We got it.
I think we got it. We got it. Maybe. We'll see.
Talk about your upcoming album as well as your single "It Is Well With My Soul." What inspired you to produce this whole project?
You want to take that one, Stephanie, or you want me to? That's well.
You go first. You go ahead. Go ahead.
We
go ahead.
We had done a band album, Stevie Wellens band album, and we felt passionately about doing a duo and doing our own material. So all but one song is original to us, and the other song is by our co-writer. But we saw It Is Well With My Soul in a shop in Georgia, and we thought, what a great name for a CD. And we researched the hymn and the meaning of the hymn and the writer of the hymn, and it spoke to us about hardship in life. And we decided that that's what we wanted to name the CD and base it around. And so the CD is an intro and outro of the hymn, done beautifully by Stevie. And everything in between is original. And that's really what inspired the CD. And the CD was 3 years in the making, which is a long time for a CD, but it was 3 years.
It's 3 years. Well, it was 3 years. COVID had a lot to do with that too, and partly, and other instances. But that was but it Is Well With My Soul was about, like I said, which I'm echoing Cheryl. It was about trials and hardships in life and how you come through them. No matter what, have faith. Have faith in either the man upstairs, and I'm more universal. Have more faith in the universe. Have faith in yourself, and faith in your abilities, and it'll be all right. So, it is well, it's well with my soul. We had to sometimes it takes a minute to get to that point. You know what I mean? It takes a while to get to that point that say, okay, let this happen. This is going to happen. I'm going to do this. And no matter what, because we've all gone through a lot of heck in our lives.
Yep.
And, and we're still here. So we came through it. So it's all right. Yeah.
Nice.
Exactly.
Yes.
So you've been through a lot in the music business. You've been in it for, I'm sure, years and years or years and years. But unfortunately, one of the things
It's a good way of
That's so
putting it.
nice of you.
Thank you.
I'm sure one of the things you've never had to experience is being a musician during the pandemic. And so when it started, what was that like for you? How did you take it? How did you receive it? And what are you doing now to hopefully get ready to get back on stage?
Well, I have to say, for me, actually, when the pandemic hit, I was filling in for a guitar player. I was on tour down south. We were about to do a 12-date tour, and the pandemic hit. And so, like, all the 3 dates were canceled. And so I ended up actually, I think, getting sick. I just didn't know it at the time. And so for us, and I think I speak for Stevie too, during the pandemic, for a part of the pandemic, we finished the CD. We worked in the studio, and we switched studios, and we worked in the studio through the pandemic to make sure that our CD was completed. So that actually during the pandemic, we were busy. And then towards the end, we have been performing two nights a week in wineries that are popping up all over. So the duo really has taken off in terms of live performance, because a lot of the rooms that had 5-piece bands, 4-piece bands went down to duos and singles. And so actually we kind of benefited from that.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we did during the pandemic.
Exactly. I was supposed to be down there during the tour, and I was going to get on the plane to go, and something said, I better not, the planes are tightly packed. And I said, I think I'm just gonna, a good thing I did, because everything was starting as like it was a ball. Everything all the dates we had were wiped out. It was just wiped out. It was just really discouraging at first. But we had this, it's okay, we got to figure out how to work this go in the recording studios and work this out. She'll put a studio in her house, Skydog. Okay, that helped.
Yes.
They'll record there. And as the things progressed, another studio opened up, but it was like limited. We could only be so many people in the studio, so which made it work just fine. And but like Cheryl said, we kept going throughout the pandemic, and things started opening up more or less. So for the duo, like she said, wineries, the smaller venues, the larger venues were like drying up, and some of the smaller ones, but they could only pay but so much, which is, it was okay for us because we had our duo. And I think we're really blessed to have been able to do that, and there are others who've been able to do it as well. So we're kind of in that group. But I have happy to say that I'm vaccinated. I'm, so Cheryl and
Caution to the wind.
I mean, I think it's a good thing to get caution to the wind. Hey, you know what? Look, we've been around here for so long. What the heck? I'm gonna get the vaccination. We got vaccinations, and I think everybody else should too. So that's just my soapbox moment.
So are
Shake your
you
head.
thinking about planning on a sophomore album, or are you just focused on this album right now?
Oh, that's funny you said that.
We're already getting ready to work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Cheryl.
What has happened to us is while we were making this CD during the pandemic and even slightly before, someone from California took a musician, a producer. He's worked with a lot of big name acts and played with Canned Heat. He took an interest in us. And he called me one day and said, I'd like to produce your next album, your next CD. I'm like, really? Yeah, I'm very interested. I like your style. I like your mojo. I like the way you got, I just like it. He's a guitar player. He likes the way I play. And so he said, but what I need to do is finish this CD that you're working on first. So our focus became CD. Yes, we're going to promote this CD, obviously. Yes, we're going to do some tour dates on it. We've got some unbelievable artists on this CD. But our next goal is this summer, we're going to go to California to record with some incredible studio musicians and write an entire CD. That's the plan.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. We're not letting any grass grow under our feet. We're just going to keep on rolling.
Yes.
So yeah, that's it. Yeah, because like I said, we weren't even done with this. We weren't even finished with this one. I mean, it was like we were still, I think we were halfway through with this one until you got the call and said, we'll work on the next one. So that if it's going to go that way, it's going to steamroll right along. Yeah.
All right. So my last question I have for you, you apparently have worked with many musicians, but if there was a musician, whether they be dead or alive, you would have liked to work with, and it doesn't have to be, it could be a singer or a songwriter, it can be a producer, it could be a engineer, anyone in the music business at all that you admired, you inspired you, that you like to work with, who would it be and why?
That's like, for me, I'll speak for myself. For me, that's like asking me, what is your favorite song? Which I can never answer. But if I had to pick one, I would want to play with and learn from the late, great Duane Allman, from the original Allman Brothers, who passed away in 1971. For me, his style, his interpretation, his slide playing, he's steeped in blues and Southern rock, and it just his style, liken it to Derek Trucks today. If Duane were alive today, he probably would be reincarnated into Derek Trucks. And so for me, if I had to pick one, that would be it.
Cool.
For me, it's like asking me to eat one potato chip. Okay. All right.
Never does that. Never does.
That is the toughest question in the whole world. I'm telling you, because not just vocalists, but players, and I have so many, but I'll tell you, the one I fell in love with, besides Stevie Wonder, as growing up, was Jimi Hendrix. As a player, he wasn't. His vocals weren't masterful vocals, but I'll tell you what, his heart was in every. But he was playing it on guitar and in his voice. I mean, some of the things he would sing, listen to the lyrics, and broke my heart. And then I got Donny Hathaway too. Oh, here we go. Talk about breaking hearts. Yeah, but I'll stay with Jimmy. Yeah, he if a man, when Stevie Wonder is a male, and I fell in love with male vocalists. I mean, I love the female. Don't get me wrong, female. I love my girls, but what I really would migrate to are the male vocalists. And if a man can make me feel something like that, I mean, get my hair standing on end and make me feel, that was Jimmy. I mean, Hey Joe broke my heart. I would be crying at the end of that song. I'm not lying. I would be crying at the end of the song because I'm listening to the words and lyrics that he was saying. Ain't no hangman gonna put a rope around me. I'm like, it's that kind of thing. So yeah, I would say Jimmy. That's just one. That was one potato chip. We'll reach in the bag and get the rest of the potato chips later because it's a whole bunch.
We got a whole bunch of them.
When peace like a river attendeth my way, when sorrows like sea billows roll, whatever my lot thou hast taught me to say, it is well with my soul.
Well, that is all the time we have for you today on Musical Interview. Well, that's all the time we have for you today on Musical Interlude. I'd like to thank our guests Stevie and Cheryl on stopping on by and sharing their story and their musical journey with us. And of course, you, the audience, for viewing. Have a great day. Have a great week.